the recording. And again, that will be sent out to you, but also posted on the coach's resource page that we'll go through after. But for those of you who have not met me before, my name is Ryan Kelchner. I'm the sports director for athletics in Bocce for summer games. This is my second year on staff, about my fourth year or so with the organization. Really excited for this year. So for tonight, this will be our first big competition in Special Olympics Maryland since March 7th in 2020. So that's over 15 months. So Summer Games is here, only 5 days away, with athletics being on Sunday. It's been quite a year. We're proud of all the athletes and their accomplishments during this time. Everybody for sticking together and kind of going through this rough patch. So tonight we'll be sharing general information on the events, but please make sure you talk to your coaches just regarding specific details about your team and their stuff that they might want to inform you about. And when that happens, be sure to thank them for all the time and effort they put in to pouring into you all this year. And I know you give back to them also. So looking forward to this weekend. So getting started here today on our first slide.
And Ryan, actually, before we get started, just a reminder to folks: we expect a lot of folks to be on the line, so please do keep your phones muted. If you have a question, please type it into the chat, and we'll use that to keep track. Okay, thank you.
Perfect. Thanks, Mike. So for summer games, we will be in phase 2A, which is something you all are pretty familiar with if you're competing this year. So as a reminder, that only change will be that our group size is now 500 and less. So that's larger than what typically you've been using in your practices, your competitions, but there's still no direct contact. So say you're at a vector station and you throw your jav, and that volunteer hands it back to you, that's indirect contact, and that's perfectly fine. So we're just avoiding direct contact, so no high fives or hugs, some of the stuff that we love doing. But by placing these guidelines in place, it allows us to have summer games this year. So again, 6 feet apart, like you've been doing, and then masks are required unless you are an athlete competing. So if you're a spectator, that mask needs to remain on for the duration of the day. The same goes with our staff, our GMT, and the volunteers that'll be there. That's not just spectators, but as an athlete, while you are participating, you can take that mask off. That is your decision. For the schedule of the day for athletics, again, that will be on Sunday. Volunteer check-in, just so everyone's aware, will be at 8:15 a.m. Delegation-wise, your check-in screening will start at 8:45 a.m. I would encourage you to try to arrive right around that time frame, just to allow yourself some extra time, because it will close at 9:30. So if 9:30 comes around and you have not been checked in yet, which will explain what exactly location-wise that pertains to on the next slide here, you will be scratched for the day. We have to make sure that everyone who is competing passes that screening. So please write down to arrive at 8:45 and to get that screening out of the way so we can start the day. Opening ceremonies will start at 9:30. As you can see, that's the same time that the check-in will close. So again, if you allow yourself more time, you can get checked in, settled in, and having the right mindset's half the part of competing. So I'd encourage you again to get there early. The first gun will start 15 minutes after opening ceremonies at 9:45. And with how the day is set up, we're expected to go until 1:30 p.m. So that is not 1:30 a.m. That would be a very long time. So again, 1:30 p.m. we expect to have everything wrapped up. That's a guesstimation at this point, but that's what we're looking at. So for the health screening and registration, we talked about the times there. All coaches and athletes must pass that to participate. Athletes, when you are screened, you will also receive your bib number, which will have your label with your name, the events, divisions, and your start times attached along with your safety pins. That will be your credential for the day. So just picturing what it looks like in your head, you'll go up, you'll answer the questions regarding COVID, and then you will receive your bib under your delegation name, which one of my GMT members will hand to you. So family members are encouraged to assist the athlete with pinning the bib to the front of their uniforms, as they have done in many practices and competitions. And that will be, again, the front of their uniform, not the back of it, the front. And that will be stressed from the person handing it out to you during the day. But show them how smart you are and tell them that you'll be putting it on the front of your shirt there. So non-athlete delegation members, which is coaches, volunteers, and anyone else, will be issued a credential name tag, which will be what will allow you to enter the stadium. Anybody without that will not be allowed inside the stadium. So once athletes and coaches go through the health screening, we'll see on this next slide that you're going to follow what those red arrows are.
Ryan, just to clarify, I saw some confused faces. When he says inside the stadium, he means inside the competition area. They're actually, yes, if spectators who aren't part of the delegation, there is a special seating area for you. So don't be concerned or confused with that.
Yes, no. Thank you for clarifying, Mike. So at the top here, you'll see where delegations and spectators can park. That is lot 4. Towson just recently renumbered a lot of their lots. So if you look online at a map, it may be different. So make sure that you're going to that parking lot. That will be lot 4. So after parking there, athletes will head up to that health screening. And that's where, again, they will pass those questions and receive their bibs, along with spectators. So you will follow those red arrows, which will take you around the stadium right there, as you can see. And spectators will bump into that first section, and that'll be made very clear what that section is. And then delegations will continue down to that left side there. And that is where the spectators will remain for the duration of the day. We'll talk about it a little bit more lately. The exception to that would be for taking pictures at awards. But again, there will be a separate area for those spectators to do so that'll be socially distanced for all from the rest of the athletes. So you see CC down there for you athletes, that will be the control center. TS is the track staging and FS is that field staging tent, the same locations that we have had in the past. Making sure there's no questions. All right. And if there are, again, we will address them. No problem going back to the slide if you want to ask something specific to a certain location. So families and spectators, those who are not registered and credentialized, their delegation will need to stay in that area, which will be 50 feet from the registered delegation. We do have that middle section that will separate the two. And again, once you go through that screening, those two separate groups need to remain separate for the duration of that day. And Mike, correct me if I'm wrong, that does exclude the awards location, correct? During awards, spectators may come down.
Well, not come down. They'll go up to where the awards has been relocated. You have the other map as well, right?
Maybe not, but I'll make sure that it's
there's a drawn map. But I think you can see it. It's kind of small there, but yeah. So that awards area is there. It's positioned so that spectators can come to watch the awards there, as opposed to down where it had been before. So, okay. Yeah. I mean, we realize that some of these may be challenging. These are kind of, at this point at least, the requirements that we need in order to have this event. Hopefully, at some point in the future, the requirements will change, but this is what we'll have for this weekend, and we're thrilled that we can have an event. So
yes,
thanks.
And one extra piece here, Kayla, who's one of our staff members, will have a hydration station on your way out, kind of going back out where those arrows are. Her table will be set up. It's only for informational purposes. She may be handing out a water bottle, which would be nice at the end of the day there. But feel free to stop by and talk to her if it's not too crowded and receive some information about hydration.
Ryan, one other note, actually, can you go back to the diagram? Just because we generally have never used that walkway. Just so that folks know, that is level. It's not a hill. It's actually inside the fence area, and it's a flat all the way around. So Again, we've never had folks come in over in that parking area, but don't be concerned with that. If anybody has mobility challenges, it shouldn't be an issue at all, other than I guess a little bit with the distance. So, but it is flat all the way around.
It's a nice warm up. So the order of events here. So all male athletes will complete their track events first, and then all the female athletes will complete their field events first. And after that is done, after that is complete, they will then swap. The only exception to that will be the 400-meter run, which is what we will run first, as you can see on that list, and all female and male athletes will run that at the same time. So that will follow, and then it will be the 25-meter run, 100-meter run, 50-meter walk, 50-meter run, and the 200-meter run. The reason it's set up like that is because it spaces out the events that athletes are most likely to be in, say 2 events. So it's more of a break and a downtime, and it's specifically laid out for your recovery purposes during the day. So for opening ceremonies here, all delegations and spectators will remain in the stands for the duration of the opening ceremonies. The exception of that will be the athletes in a 400-meter race, and they will go to the staging tent at that time. So once everybody's getting settled down, everybody except for the 400-meter athletes need to be in the stands. Those who are running that race, your coach is aware, and they'll make sure that you're getting set down there. And then you will be ready to go as soon as opening ceremonies is complete. So our opening ceremonies will look the same at each event at Summer Games. We'll go through a little welcome and intro. Your delegation name will be mentioned there. We'll follow that by the national anthem, the athlete oath, which is very important. We start off all our events with that. Torch with law enforcement will happen. And then we will follow that by some general announcements related to the day and any last minute updates if there are any at that time. You will hear that through the sound system at Towson. So for staging, all athletes will be held staging in those staging tents that we showed you on the picture before. If you need to stretch, that's perfectly fine, but it needs to be done in the proximity of that staging tent in that row. Please be in the staging tent within 15 minutes prior to your start. Your coach has been provided upon arrival the individualized schedules, which will have when each of you are starting, but just be aware of that also so you're aware where you should be at what time. Again, kind of like we talked about, since it is a condensed day, being a one-day event, there will be some events that run semi-close to each other. So if there's events 30 to 45 minutes from each other, please do not go up to get your awards, as it'll just be pushing the time frame to get back down there before your event. So don't worry, your award will still be there. It'll be the same that you earned during your first event. And then after your second one, you can head up there and you'll be awarded for both of your events. Again, that staging tent is only for athletes and registered volunteers only. So awards, it will be held behind the spectator bleachers. They will not be placed around your neck like it has been in the past, just to follow protocol, but it will be held out on our typical awards platters that we have. By law enforcement, they will hold their arms out and you will reach out and receive your medal. I would encourage you to put it around your neck and wear it proudly at that time, just like they would typically put it around your neck. I know if they could, they would, because that brings them so much happiness to award you what you deserved on your event day. So feel free to put it around your neck. The only exception with that is if you say have an hour between your events and you go up there and get awarded, just remember to take it back off before you go back into the staging tent. So no, doesn't get lost, and also you can't really race or have a great throw with an award around your neck, most likely, nor will you be allowed to. So law enforcement will be there that you can take socially distanced pictures with. And then when you're waiting for your pictures, the athletes need to stay socially distanced. just like in any practice or competition, sometimes I need to be reminded. Just kind of separate or stay away, even if I'm trying to talk to somebody real quickly. If somebody says something to you, it's not personal. I've had to have the same reminder done myself. So just be appreciative for the reminder. I know I'll do the same, and we'll follow the protocol so we can have a great event that we're planning for. So moving on to uniforms and attire here, just some quick reminders. They must be athletic shorts, no jeans or street shorts. Your athletic shoes, no loose jewelry, medals, ribbons when competing. Again, make sure to take those off. No headphones when you're competing. If you would like to wear them into the stadium, I know some people do. I have no problem with that. Get your pump up music in, whatever gets you fired up for the day. But when you are in those stadium tents, all of these need to be removed. Bibs, make sure they remain in the front. And then spikes, if you do have them, no more than 11 and a quarter of inch long. And then athletes not in a proper uniform will be disqualified. So when you're getting ready in the morning, do a quick check of yourself. Try to think back to some of these things. And then it just saves your coach another extra reminder too. So dress accordingly, like you were here to compete at summer games, and you'll be all set to go. Some special events to be aware of. Thursday, the 10th at 7 o'clock, we will have the Justin and Jim show. So I have not joined one of those. I know that once you hit that link, there'll be a few different options for dates, and I think they've had 2 so far already. So just pick that date for June 10th and check it out. Follow up if you're an athlete. Let me know what you thought of it. If I can join, I will. But let me know what you think. Saturday, June 12th at 7 p.m. Again, there's been a few different dances. Once you click that link, select the June 12th one. I believe it'll be specific since it's a virtual victory dance, hopefully related to summer games there. So make sure you register for both of those dates. It'll get you in the mood for summer games. Don't dance too hard because track and field is the next day. But have fun and get excited for the following day. So we still have some volunteer opportunities available. Feel free to check out that page. That pertains to not just athletics. That would be bocce, cheerleading, and softball. But on that page, you'll be able to see what the different opportunities are, what volunteer role might fit you best. There's a little description that comes with many of the roles. And if you have any questions, reach out to Sam Boyd, who is our volunteer coordinator. You can find her information on our website, and she would love to help you out. So some COVID protocol reminders, some quick ones here. Masks for everyone, except athletes and partners when they're competing. At that point, they are then optional. No direct contact, so no high fives, any touching, no elbow bumps. This year, as soon as this protocol is lifted, I look forward to being able to congratulate all of you and do that socially distanced 6 feet apart. People are attending based on these protocols. So a couple months out, we reached out to the counties and talked to the coaches about if this is in place, will you be willing to come? And that's what we agreed to. So that's what we're following through with here. But it's going to be an amazing event. I know that all the athletes are fired up about it. I've received a few emails from some of them, and then the coaches are also. All your hard work will finally show this weekend. I know many of you took advantage of these COVID times. You may have been at home, but it didn't mean you couldn't still get better in the sport that you loved. So the weekend coming up is the weekend to show it off. So looking forward to it. As a reminder, here's some summer game updates regarding this coming weekend. The event guide has been posted on the coach resource page. There's a general page for that where you can look through the entire event guide. If you want to check out a certain sport and don't want to check the table of contents and scroll down, you could also check out all of the specific sport pages that are listed on the coach's resource pages. So make sure you stay super hydrated over the course of the day. Bring some sunscreen. The turf is 10 to 15 degrees warmer typically, so it will be a little toasty on there, but just expect to stay hydrated and you'll be perfectly fine. Possibly bring bug repellent. If there was cicada repellent, I would say bring that also, but there is not, as far as I'm aware. So to stay hydrated, there will not be any communal water sources. So the typical big orange coolers that you typically see at summer games will not be there, but there will be a bunch of water bottles. With that being said, please bring your own water bottle, just for your convenience. Keep that by your side. And by the time you're thirsty, it probably means that you're dehydrated. So keep that water bottle with you. If you don't put it down when you don't need to, it'll remind you to keep drinking. So I believe that brings us to the end. I just want to say again, I'm very excited for this weekend. I know that I have not met many of you, even if you're coaches. I may have talked to you on the phone. So feel free to introduce yourself. I know Mike wants to jump in and say something.
Yeah, well, yes, thank you as well. But Ryan, I'll tell you what, let me share. I have the other diagram.
Sure.
Let me pop that in. If you could talk folks through that, that might, it gives a little more detail. That's
Sure.
all.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you have to stop sharing so I can share that. But I'll have you do the talking.
All righty.
And let me get rid of the chat and everything. Okay. Oops.
Yeah, so some pieces that may have not been covered before. On that left side, you will see medical. If anything happens throughout the day, do not hesitate to head over to there. They will patch you up, whatever you need. Field staging, we talked about, same with track staging over there. The control center will be located in that same area as before. Here's a better diagram of kind of the space-wise, what the delegation seating will look like. When you enter into there, there will be signs that show which delegation is should be in which section. So I believe that'll be posted at the top or so. We have your county banners. So once you turn and look in there, you'll know where to sit. Spectators, again, will remain on that right side. That's all level of the stands that they're able to sit. Please stay 6 feet apart in that location also. The awards area, you can see a little more clearer than the diagram before, will be located directly behind spectator and family. So it'll be a simple, if you need to come down to take a picture, go do that. And if it's not their second event, head back up there for the duration of the day until their second. Any additional things that I missed on here, Mike?
Just all the competition events. For those of you who have been to summer games before, I think most of the athletes have who are with us this year. You've got your start line, and spectators, family members, you're staring right down the start line, or finish line rather, and then your various start lines. The shot put will be right there, the mini jab and softball throw, and then the long jump. So yeah. And then again, there's that walkway around. So just thought that might be a little easier. This map is in the event guide that you can get from the coach resource page. It's up there now. We will also, I think Ryan might have mentioned this before. Let me switch over and stop sharing now. That after tomorrow night's webinar, which is bocce, that'll be the last one. It might not be until Thursday morning. We will send a push out to everyone who got the email on Friday. Those folks that we have email addresses for there, reminding you that it's there and with the links to get to the site or to the event guide as well. So, but yeah, we strongly encourage that. Also, the coach resource page that we mentioned there. Some of you may be familiar with that. We call it a coach resource page, but it's really for anybody. And that's where Ryan and his team will be posting the results. We'll have probably tomorrow, we'll have the delegation lists and the famous, what we call Mary Lou Bucci report. that lists all the your competitions and time sequence for each delegation. Those are all done. They just need to get posted. So you'll have all the same things that you and your coaches have shared available, and we can post several of those ahead of time. But we really encourage everyone to utilize that. And then Ryan, the other thing I would say, because I did answer several questions in here in the chat that might be helpful, other than is it go till 1 a.m.? So no, but good catch. Yeah, Don was asking, can the track be open for warm-ups in the morning, as we've done before? And yes, everything's the same. And just share the space for folks. And we encourage you with your coaches to go down and use that time to warm up on the track. You can go and try a couple throws with the mini jav or whatever, as well as practice some starts and so on. But again, follow all the protocols that Ryan's gone over. Sheldon was asking about restrooms over in the lot 4 area where the screening is. I believe they're there. There are some there. Ryan, do you know that for a fact, though? I'm not 100% certain.
I believe Scott said they would be open.
Okay.
But don't take my word for it for sure. But we do expect that will be open.
Yeah, we can check on it, and if they exist there, we'll make sure that they're open. Okay. Question from Julie. Julie was about masks. Do you have to wear them when you're not competing? Yeah, unfortunately, the Special Olympics worldwide standard is for now that we do need to wear masks whenever we're not competing or actively involved with physical activity, is the way they phrase it. So you can take them off as you leave the staging area, and your escorts will hold them for you. We'll have little plastic Ziploc bags that you can put them in and then hand them to your escort, and then they'll give them back to you afterwards. But yeah, you do. Unfortunately, I know that can be a little cumbersome time. Don also asked about tents in the stands. Same process or requirements that we've had before, that yes, you absolutely can pop them up. You do need to secure them. And we ask not in the first 5 rows. And that's mainly so it doesn't obstruct people who want to, some people who want to sit down closer to watch. So yeah, also if we do ask either Special Olympics or Towson asks you to take them down, no question, you have to take them down. So that's sort of the balance there. But weather's looking, supposedly for Sunday at least, is looking really good. Let's see, I think someone was asking if 1:30 is the end time or the latest. We went through, and Ryan and Ron Freeman, many of you know Ron, who has led the track team for years. They went through and worked the schedule and so on. Right now on paper, the last heat goes off at 12:30. So things sometimes go a little late, although that track team has a track record of staying on time, but you never know. And so 1:30 is a good estimate for things wrapping up. But again, something could happen. It could go a little later. We certainly don't want to end it right then if someone hasn't competed yet. Okay. Just put the volunteer link in the chat per request. Is there a limit of the number of family members per athlete? No. Again, the space in the stands, I think that side of the stadium can seat 2,500 people. I would love to have the problem of not enough space to fit all the spectators. Would love to have that problem. I don't think it's going to be an issue this year, even with 6-foot distancing. We're really proud of Ryan. We have how many athletes competing? 95 athletes, which is fantastic given everything everybody's been dealing with. So yeah, I think that's great. And where can you find the event guide again? Oh, Ryan, you popped that in there too. Great. Okay. So yeah, if you go, the simplest way to find it is if you go to the SOMD website and go under coaches and go to that link. There's a link right there to the coach resource page, and you can see where you can get to summer games. You can get to any other sport too, although some of that stuff's being added up. So, sorry, I just wanted to run through all the questions since not everybody saw as the chat was going. But I'll turn it back to Ryan.
there any other questions?
Yeah, with the number of events going on, the 13th is actual game day. Is that right?
Correct. It'll be a one-day event on this coming Sunday. Correct.
Perfect. Perfect. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yep. But if anyone's interested, we do have cheerleading and bocce going on Saturday. Thrilled to have folks come out there. Also at Towson and at Kiwanis Wallace Park in Ellicott City, we have softball, advanced level skills going on Friday. So.
Any other questions?
Ryan, you must have done such a great job with sharing all this info. That Joe, you waving there, bud, or you have a question?
You're unmuted, Joe. Go ahead.
So I have a question. When we come to the stadium, usually signs for parking and things like that are not very good. Are you planning to do some more signs on Major Road to direct to
Yes.
this new parking area?
Thank you for bringing that up. I can tell you that we packed today and every directional arrow in our warehouse has been packed. So that's something that we've
Because
received.
I remember about 3 years ago, it took me half an hour to take 5 rounds and then find place.
Well, that's not ideal. I know that we have some post like action reports or whatever that kind of gives you the opportunity to tell us what we could do differently. And I know that's something that's been mentioned in the past. And I've read that. So it will be easily noticeable where you should be heading. I will put it that way.
Yeah, we'll have Ryan go out and
great.
collect all the signs from bocce and cheerleading and softball and put them in at the track on Sunday, since Sunday's the only track.
Thank you, because the only time I go usually to Towson University is for these games. So then after 1 year, you forget half of it.
It can be confusing.
Thank you very much.
Okay, looks like Joe, John, I don't know, we can't hear you, sir.
Somebody call me off because that person should be raising hand.
Okay. Well, we couldn't hear you. We couldn't hear you talking there. So what's your question, Joe?
Should be raising hand that people call me off.
No, Joe, I think I had you muted. Go ahead. Ask your question then.
Because the person should be raising hand because it called me off. But I don't want to.
That's okay.
Not do
Joe,
that
we're
like
all
that.
friends here, bud. We're all
There's a
friends.
lot of people on. It's hard to figure out. Go ahead, Joe.
How you say stage area is not enough law enforcement officer get a medal. I have an idea. People will use the hand. The medal can put in the hand like that. Not they cannot reach you yourself. Put like this, the medal put it, and you grab your medal and put it yourself. The easy way to do that.
Yeah, Joe, I think that sounds like a good idea. That might be something we'll try next time. We kind of have things all arranged right now.
Right.
But, that's a good idea. We can try maybe with kayaking if we're still dealing with the situation. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. You're welcome.
Thank you, Joe. Anybody else? Alrighty. If anything comes up, please reach out to your coaches. They will be able to answer a lot of your questions. If they're unsure, they will reach out to me and I'll make sure that we're all squared away. But I hope tonight was helpful. I know that typically we have kind of one group together for all the sports that Jeff Abel leads to talk through spectators and athletes, but we wanted to break it out this year just to provide you a little more detail, allow you to ask questions. Apparently they were all covered for the most part. But really looking forward to this weekend. I know everybody else is too. So let's have an amazing time. Again, first time in a long, long time. So give it your all. I'm really excited. So
thank you as well. And if we could ask a favor for everyone, when you're at Towson, could you make it a point, again, following the COVID protocols, of course, just be sure to thank any of the volunteers who are there. As well as Towson. Towson really is bent over backwards, the university, to make this possible, even though there are constraints and things and rules that we have to follow now, which hopefully at some point fairly soon will change. But be sure to thank them. They really have made the difference. And they were determined to do everything they could so that we could have it. We shared with some of the coaches previously that Maryland is one of the very few states that's able to have something close to a typical summer games this year. And it's the only one in the Mid-Atlantic region who's having it at their regular venue, their regular facility. And that is, well, it's a big tribute to you all, but it's also a tribute to Towson and how supportive they are to make this happen. This is a highlight for them. But if you could just be sure to thank them as well, that would really, I would personally appreciate that. So, but thank you, thank you, thank you. And look forward to seeing everybody in a couple days.
Thank you, everyone. Have a great night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank you,
everybody.
Ryan and Mike.
You have to do Jason's big goodbye. But Joe, what's the big goodbye we do on for the for the
Hey, big shampoo. Bye, guy.
Good night, everyone.
Bye.
Bye. Good night.
Good night.
Good night.